Alright guys, welcome back to some more CSGO Lounge predictions for March 15th, 2016. I don't know why I had to say 2016, but yeah. I just want to go over a few matches yesterday. Um, One upset that happened was the CSGO Lounge versus Flipside. I definitely would have said go on Flipside. I actually forgot to analyze that match yesterday, but yeah. And then Imperial tied with Kick. Another major upset was CSGO Lounge versus some unknown team called XPC in a best of one Mirage. And XPC actually took it, but it was a best of one, so like I said it in the video, anything could happen. Now, I just want to mention, games are constantly getting added, so I'm going to analyze all these matches that are up now. Oh wow, there's a lot. But matches are constantly getting added throughout the day, so if you guys want my opinion on a match, tweet at me. It's right up here, in the top right. And I'll be able to actually answer it, because someone commented on my last video, and by the time I saw it, it was too late for me to even answer. But yeah, so yeah, if you have a question of a match that I didn't analyze in this video, go ahead and tweet me. Alright, now let's get into the actual analyzing. SK versus Tricked. I don't know too much about Tricked. I don't really recognize any of these players. I do know SK. SK's actually been playing not too great lately, but they have been playing really good teams. As you can see, they're playing Astralis. Ancient's pretty good. FaZe is in a slump, but they still lost to them. But they beat them on cash in a 25-23. That was a crazy game. I watched that one. And then Tricked. They're losing to DenDD. DenDD's, I've seen them beat a few teams. And then there's, don't even know that team, but they beat them. CW. They're actually not that bad of a team, and they're beating them. Space S, they beat them. Don't know who that is actually. And CGBP, don't know who that is either, and they lost them. Now, just by looking at this, I would definitely probably go about medium bet on SK, but since I don't know Tricked, I'm gonna say low bet on SK. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not gonna guess any odds for this because, like I said, I don't know Tricked. But the fact that it's SK, they play against top tier teams, and Tricked's losing to unknown teams, and it's a best of 3, so I think SK will definitely win this. So I'd probably go medium to high on SK. Next match here is HR versus Space S. Now, this is another really risky match to bet on. HR has been having some very just weird lineup issues, some roster issues. So I don't know how this one's gonna go. Space S, also they lost to Tricked. Speaking of Tricked, they lost to them. They're beaten just teams barely. Look at these scores. HR is losing to teams they probably should be losing to, but HR used to be a better team. Overall, I'm going to also say this is just a risky match. Probably I'd skip this one also, along with the previous one. Actually, the previous one I probably am going to mid-bet, but I'm just not sure. I'm going to say, since I don't know Tricked, I would say skip. And this is just a risky match. Skip or ICB on Space S. That's going to be my final analyst on this. And I'm not going to give odds for this because it's just too risky of a match. Going into the next map is Nerd Rage versus Enso. Now, this is another really just risky match. Nerd Rage not playing too great. Enso also not playing too great. I do know these teams though, so I'm actually gonna say it's about a 50-50. Maybe I'm gonna actually say it's a 55-45 in favor of Nerd Rage. Even though the Nerd Rage odds right now are low, I think Nerd Rage odds will go up. I'm gonna overall say it's a 55-45 in favor of Nerd Rage, but honestly, I just skipped this match too. All right, next game is NaVi versus Dignitas on Mirage. Now Dignitas, they haven't been playing too great at all lately. Even though they've won 4 out of the past 5 games, if you look at the teams they're beating, they're just unknown teams that aren't too popular. And it's, as you can see here, a 16-11. That's a close game against a team I haven't heard of. And a 16-6, that's a pretty convincing win on Mirage too, which is this map. And NaVi 16-12 phase on Mirage, and phase is actually not too bad at Mirage. So this is another really risky match. I would say NaVi wins this. I'd say the odds though are about a 55-45 in favor of NaVi. So honestly, I do think NaVi's gonna win, but if the odds go up anymore, if the odds go to a 70-30, I would ICB on Dignitas. Otherwise, I would say probably low bet on NaVi. Alright, the next Dignitas versus NaVi map is on Overpass. Now, once again, this is another risky match. Last time they played, which was October 19th, NaVi beat them very convincingly with a 16-5 on Overpass, as you can see here. But like I said, it's Dignitas. Dignitas is a good team. They're just playing bad. So they could really do anything. Probably, this is, like I said, another risky one. I'd say it's about a 60-40 in favor of NaVi. So I would probably just low bet on NaVi if you're going to bet at all. Alright, for these next 2 matches, they're both best of 1s with the same teams. And they're going to be different maps, but the maps haven't been announced yet. So I'm basically just kind of going to analyze this very lightly. Depending on the map, if it's Penta's pick on the map of the best of 1, I would say probably go high on Penta, just because if you look at VWS, literally they've lost every single game in their past 5 games. And Penta is not doing too bad at all, winning 3 of their past 5, and losing to CSGO Lounge, which is, I mean, CSGO Lounge is a really good team, so that's reasonable. And then losing to Enso, which is another pretty good team. And then beating No Kappa, Demons, and AR8. So, or A-Rate. Probably said that wrong. But anyway, if it's Penta's good map, I would say probably just go high on Penta. Otherwise, probably still just go low on Penta. I really don't see Penta losing to this team at all. So like I said, as of me recording this, neither of these maps have been announced for either best of 1. So if it's Penta's map, go high on Penta. If it's not Penta's map, probably go low on Penta. I don't see VWS beating them. Next map or match is going to be CSGO Lounge versus Infused. This is probably the safest bet on CSGO Lounge, or this is the safest bet that I've analyzed this video so far. CSGO Lounge is playing really great, except for losing to XPC, which is very unheard of team on Mirage, but that was the best of 1. And I mean, it was still a pretty close game. So I'm not gonna bash them for that. They actually ended up beating Flipside today afterwards, so I mean, they're playing good. They're beating Dignitas, even though Dignitas, like I said earlier, are in a little bit of a slump, but still Dignitas is Dignitas, and they beat them, and they beat Penta. And in my opinion, I mean, if we're going by chain logic, Penta has beaten Infused recently. So I would say CSGO Lounge has a good chance at this, especially because it is a best of 3. So I would probably go high, medium to high on CSGO Lounge for this one. And my odds are going to be an 85-15 in favor of CSGO Lounge. Alright, here is G2 versus SK on Train. Now, this is a risky match in my opinion. I do think G2 will win this, but SK's best map is Train. Even though they have been losing on it recently to Astralis, but Astralis is a really good team. They also lost a few weeks ago on Train, because I remember betting on them and I lost, because they shouldn't have lost. But anyway, it is Train. G2, I say, do have a good chance of winning it. I would say go low on G2. Otherwise, if the odds go to... If SK's odds drop below 25%, which is actually looking like they might, I would say ICB on SK. Otherwise, probably go low on G2 or just skip the match, because this is a really risky match. I would say the odds are about a 60-40 in favor of G2. And very high risk match. I'm gonna skip this one personally, but yeah, like I said, probably go low on G2. If the odds drop below 25% for SK, just ICB on SK. Alright, so the next match is going to be Kick PT versus Kick ES. Kick PT is by far the better team. I definitely favor them in winning this, but I mean, they are the same org, so who knows, they may just tie. They may just give each other a win, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw that happen. Otherwise, you could probably go high on PT and get away with it. So I'd say the odds are about a 75-25. These odds are actually about right. And I would go high on Kick PT. This one right here, Kick PT. Sorry that I went out of order. I meant to analyze this match before the last one. But either way, it's G2 versus SK on Cash. The other one was on Train. And I would say G2 has a really good chance of taking that. Now with SK's win on FaZe, it makes this match a little bit more risky than it was. Either way, I think G2 will win this. I would honestly say the odds are about 75-25 in favor of G2. And I would probably just go medium bet on G2. They can definitely beat SK on Train. Last time they played, it was when G2 was known as Titan, and it was a 16-14, so that's a pretty close game. I'm not sure. The rosters have probably changed. I'm not sure. Let me check real quick. There have actually been some roster changes on SK. And they were good roster changes. Like, their team is better now than they were here. So who knows? SK could take this. I don't know. This is kind of a risky match. I'd probably just go low to medium bet on G2 for this one. Alright, the next match is E-Frag versus DenDD. I think is how you say it. I'm not sure. But DenDD, whatever, however you say it. Now E-Frag is a really, really strong team in my opinion. They just have not been playing too great lately, honestly. They've been kind of inconsistent, barely making it by on maps, as you can see here, beating SK on a 19-17, and then beating Method a 16-11, and then losing to CW, which is a team, in my opinion, they should be able to beat. And then DenDD, or however you say it, is losing to Dignitas, which is reasonable, and they're losing to ATN, which I'm not sure about. That should be a really close match, and it was, but still. And then they do get beaten by Preparation, which actually is a pretty good team. I would say the odds are about probably a 70-30 in favor of E-Frag. I'll probably bet medium on E-Frag here. Alright, the next map is CLG versus Noble. CLG, honestly, really underperforming lately. Really underperforming. I mean, they lost to Splice on Cash. They've been really inconsistent. They lost to Energy, which is a team that I think they should beat. Noble, though, they're losing. I mean, let's be honest. A loss to Liquid, that's reasonable. They lost to A.Auth, Quetzal, which, I mean, Quetzal's actually pretty good for this tier. Ace G. Honestly, since CLG has been underperforming lately, and the odds are a 90-10, I would just skip, or if you really want to, ICB on Noble. If the odds drop to like an 80-20, which is what I'm going to say these odds are. Actually, I say the odds are about an 85-15 in favor of CLG. But if the odds drop to an 80-20, maybe an 85-15, probably just go medium on CLG, a medium bet. But this is a weird match in my opinion. I would skip it. But it is a best of 3, so it is a little bit safer. I do definitely think CLG will win this. But with how inconsistent they've been playing, I don't want to risk it. They are a good team. They have a good lineup. But they've just been playing too inconsistent lately. So I would personally skip this one. And finally on to the last map. This has been a long video, almost 17 minutes now. It is Selfless versus A.Auth. Now, AA is pretty good of a team, but Selfless, in my opinion, is just too underrated. It's pretty much old enemy minus Kusta. And yeah, Kusta did almost top frag about every single game, but Selfless is still a really good team, even without Kusta. With this being a best of 3, I would definitely think it's fairly safe to go medium to high on Selfless. Otherwise, I would probably just skip if you don't want to go. But I would say this is a pretty safe game. As you can see, they lose to TSM. They did beat Noble, but that's not saying too much. Lost to Liquid, that's not saying too much. And then they're losing to teams like this. Like, honestly, this is a good team. I've seen them play really well, but I don't think they're going to be able to beat X-Enemy. I mean, mainline, Relics, Uber, Nifty, Mitch. That's a good lineup. And I think Selfless can easily take this. Honestly, I'd say the odds are about an 80-20 in favor of Selfless, and I'll go medium to high on Selfless. That is all the matches for today. Like I said, I'm going to remind you guys one more time. If there is a match that shows up and you want a quick analyst over it, tweet me. As you can see, it's up in the top right. And I'll try to answer it. There's no guarantee I will, but I probably will if I see it. And yeah, that's all. Hopefully this helped. Hopefully you guys win some skins. And yeah, peace out till next time.